Hello friends, welcome to the Knowledge Adda. You may have heard some term as like guidelines, policy, standard and procedure. So basically in this video I will cover what are differences between these terms, where these terms can be used and what is basically core meaning of these terms. One is policy, second is procedure, third is standard and fourth one is guidelines. So basically, there are very little difference, but we must know when we are using these terms. So we must have some idea where we have to use policy terms, where we have to use guidelines, where we have to use standard and procedure. So firstly, let me discuss about the policy. What is basically policy? So generally, policy refer to a decision that is taken by organization. So in a definition term, you can say the policy relates to a decision of the governing body of an organization, and also we can say a policy is a typically an internal organization decision that tells how it's going to be work or how it's function. And also we can say a policy is a formal statement of a principle that should be followed by its intended audience. So basically in these terms you can see policies generally refer to a decision which is taken by internal member of a particular organization, and it's also considered every audience or every person who are working in that particular organization need to be followed. So each policy should address an important issue concerning the achievement of the overall purpose of the organization. So just I am taking an example. Suppose if you are working in a university and in a college, there is a examination policy. So basically that examination policy contains all the decision which is taken by the examination department if something happen, because all the decision is predefined, all the procedure is predefined, and according to the situation, that situation will be referred to that particular policy. What policy said, so according to that policy or according to that decision, further decision will be taken by its concerned member. So basically in a layman language we can say policy refer to a decision which is predefined or which is decided by the governing body of a organization, and this is internal decision of an organization. So basically this is definition of policy. Second term is procedure. So basically a procedure provides detailed mandatory step someone need to follow to achieve a task. So basically we can say that procedure is a step which is taken by someone to fulfill the requirement or to complete a task, sometime in form of the checklist. That is also example of a procedure, and this procedure can include step-by-step instructions or a statement telling you where something need to be. सो आपने बहुत जगह देखा होगा कुछ चीज़ें मेंशन की जाती है कि फर्स्ट स्टेप आपको क्या करना है, व्हाट यू हैव टू डू इन सेकंड स्टेप, व्हाट यू हैव डू इन थर्ड स्टेप. तो बेसिकली दैट इज ए एग्जांपल ऑफ प्रोसीजर. सो ए प्रोसीजर इन्फॉर्म एम्प्लॉयज हाउ टू कैरी आउट और हाउ टू implement a policy. So basically when you are going to implement a policy in that particular things, you have to follow some procedure, means step by step the process. So that is also called procedure, and this is basically example of procedure. Procedure usually contain written instruction in a logical number step. You can say what is first step, what is second step, and also some people uses the phrases process, and some people uses practice, and some uses work practice instead of procedure. So basically these are all the same terms, but we prefer using the word procedure. If someone is saying what is process to do this, means he or she is asking about the procedure, how to procedure. Suppose अगर कोई स्टूडेंट किसी यूनिवर्सिटी को विजिट करना है, उसको फ़ी जमा करना है, तो वो किसी से पूछता है कि इसका बेसिकली प्रोसेस क्या है. means he or she is asking about the procedure to submit the fee, means what is process up to submitting the fee. So basically both are the similar term. Generally people use procedure mostly. In public sector also you have heard about the SOPs, means uh, standard operating procedure. So generally in public sector procedure is called as SOP, and also in some organization we use term SOP instead of procedure. So basically procedure is a step by step instruction to complete any task. Just I have taken example, someone need to pay the fee, so he can see ask for the process or ask for the procedure. What is procedure of submitting the fees, means this is a step by step process to complete any task, that is called procedure. Now talking about last, that is guidelines. Basically we can say guidelines is a supporting document which support additional to the policy, procedure and standard. So a guidelines provides general guidance and additional advice and support for the policies, standard or procedure. So many people confuse a guidelines with a policy, because guidelines contain similar content to a policy. Because some what happened कि many people confuse about the policy and guidelines. Many people thinks कि both policy and guidelines are same, but this is not right, because there is a biggest difference between policy and guidelines. That is, guidelines is a voluntary and policy is always mandatory. Means guidelines is optional but policy is mandatory. We can say कि suppose you have created a policy, on the basis of that policies guidelines work. So firstly, whatever guidelines you are going to make, firstly a policy should be created, then we can create a guidelines, because policy is mandatory and guidelines are optional. So hope you understand what is basically differences between the procedure, standard, guidelines and policy. So thank you for watching this.